Hey everybody, welcome back. This is the Open Source Office once again. I am Tex, Open Source Program Manager here at Intersect. Today I am joined by Mr. Jonathan Rodriguez with No Witness Labs. Jonathan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Jonathan, co-founder of No Witness Labs and core maintainer of Evolution SDK.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. So we're here. We're going to do a little spotlight here for No Witness and Evolution, and we can call this a little bit of a special edition episode, maybe, if you will. Evolution SDK is the first project to start coming through our incubation program here at Intersect. So definitely make sure that you're following along, and we'll hope you see this video. But we'll get right into it here, Jonathan. So tell us some more about No Witness Labs in general, and then what's the mission and value proposition here overall? How does this contribute to the Cardano ecosystem? What specific problems are you all aiming to solve for developers and for users?
Well, we mainly focus on building SDKs, protocols. We've also have provided plenty of audits to most of the DeFi protocols and other protocols as well, like bridges and stuff. And we also we have built many open source toolings and help out clients throughout the journey of building their protocols as well.
Wonderful. And if we dive a little bit deeper, are there any primary technical integrations with the blockchain? Any specific components as to where this ties in, or how widespread or how detailed would you say we can get?
Well, within Cardano, we have helped in different sections. Like, for instance, the last work we did was related to the Glacier drop. We were mainly focused on putting Hydra up to speed. That's the reason why Hydra is version 1.0, because we started with working with the Hydra team at version 0.19, and we brought it up to version 1.0, which is a stable one. We battle tested that throughout the development of the Glacier drop, and so we are happy to have contributed to it, and so far it's been working great. They've already made the deployment, and everything runs successfully. And so yes, as I mentioned, we have helped on that side, like layer 2s. We've also helped out building SDKs for clients. It's sort of like in different aspects. Also from the optimization point of view, we've also worked with many smart contracting languages like Plutus DX, Plutarch, Aiken, Scala, and we have provided audits and also optimizations and security guidance to our clients as well.
All right. And so what about when it comes to data reliability, integrity? You were just mentioning security here, but what does this look like in terms of on-chain and off-chain data interactions with these SDKs that you guys built?
Yes, so I've always seen the on-chain contract as a closed scope. Everything is deterministic. As everybody knows, that Cardano is a deterministic model. There's specific interfaces when you're interacting with the smart contracts. You have the script context, which is provided by the Cardano node, and everything is constrained within a certain bounds. Now, the challenge with the smart contracts is mostly when it comes to optimization as well. People tend to optimize smart contracts, but there's a trade-off. Like, you always have to find, whenever you find optimizations, there's also like a trade-off that can open the doors to like finding certain issues and exploits. There's like common issues in the smart contracts. We do have a list that we are planning to refresh and make it available as well to the public. But there's also like the business side point of view. Most of the time, there's very well-known security exploits in Cardano. like the dust token attacks, double spending. But when it comes to the business logic, that's way too different, and that's where we also focus on. For instance, a business logic of a DEX might be different from a lending and borrowing protocol, right? So they do have different constraints, different math. There's different equations as well. Now, if you go back to the off-chain code, that's a different biz. Like both on-chain and off-chain they have their own challenges. The main challenge with the off-chain code when it comes to building SDKs has to do with side effects. Whenever you're interacting with a provider like Blockfrost, Maestro, Koyos, or Kupo and Ogmios, or any other provider, there's always side effects. There might be latencies on the time it takes for you to get a response back from the provider. There's also like the data integrity might not be the right one that you're expecting from a provider. There's also an issue with some endpoints that might fail down the line. There's like retries issues, and also when it comes to building the transaction, that's also a very challenging things to do. In a transaction, you have different things that can be unexpected. Like, for instance, everybody knows a transaction has input, outputs, but there's whenever you're interacting with a smart contract, you also have to consider the evaluation of the contract, right? So what's the cost of that contract to run on chain? So you have to get that. There's also issues with the collateral, like how much collateral you want to put. The ledger has some constraints. There's also coin selections. There's plenty of coin selections algorithms that help out with the efficiency of a transaction. So depending on the coin selection algorithm you use, either you might increase the fees of the transaction, or it might be decrease. Different UTXOs might be picked. There's also a challenge when it comes to what do you do with the return of the assets. So let's say you have a UTXO that has 100 ADA and 10 tokens. And from that UTXO, you only spend 10, right? But what happens with that UTXO is that you spend the UTXO, you set some outputs to have a return of the chain address. That UTXO you'll get back the ADA plus the assets. But what happens when you have a bunch of UTXO, say 10, 20? How do you deal with the chain address output? That's also an issue. There's a popular website in Cardano called Unfragged, where basically you put in your wallet and it's sort of like split out the asset from the UTXO, so it can be more performant when it comes to interacting with dApps. But that's also a challenge when it comes to working with the SDKs and off-chain. But yeah, there's so many things to think about when it comes to building stuff. Yeah.
Sure. Well, we can take it back to maybe a little bit lighter hearted topic here. So if we look at back to open source here, does No Witness contribute to other projects? I mean, obviously, it sounds like you guys have a lot of work ongoing as it is. Kind of building things maybe on demand. But where else do you contribute, and what's a little bit more on the policy of how or why you might open source the work that you guys are doing?
So the main contribution we made was Evolution SDK. But as I mentioned, we have contributed to other code bases like the Hydra code base as well. We have also contributed to some of the DeFi protocols out there. I'm not sure if I can mention them right now, but because they're about to be released on mainnet. But yeah, they're using our tech. They're using our SDKs, and we're providing them with optimizations and security advices. Yes.
Wonderful. Well, new things coming. We won't we won't pressure that right now. Obviously, we'll see it here in time. So what does this look like from a scalability perspective, right? So whether that is primarily through the Evolution SDK or others, how is No Witness planning to scale as we move along?
So right now we are 100% focused on open source, and we are hoping to get funding from different sources. We hope to get funded in the following Catalyst proposals. We do have great proposals out there. I can name a few. For instance, in Ethereum, there's a famous open source tooling called Hardhat, which is basically a tool that sort of like a CLI that allows you to grab different components from Ethereum and build an application from it. In Cardano, there's nothing like that. There's no way for you to pick a CLI like a tooling, like a helper tool that can allow you to set up everything, deploy the contracts, write the off-chain code, have a placeholder for the on-chain code, have some testing frameworks set up, have some .NET set up. There's nothing like that, and we would like to build something like that in Cardano. So we do have a proposal for that. There's also another one for which is called substreams. In other blockchains, there is it's very popular that dApps tend to use these solutions called substreams, which is coming from the Graph protocol. Basically, what it does is think of having a data extraction tool that takes information from Cardano node and is able to populate it to a website where people can read that information from. So say you have MinSwap, and with MinSwap you can read that data. This tool will be capable of doing that with the same standards that as other blockchains are using. Right now, we are so isolated that even the formatting of the data is sort of like unique for Cardano. So why not, like increasing the adoption and have more people being familiar with toolings like the substreams to be using Cardano rather than just, like reinventing the wheel and enforce people to use our format. Like, why not having a standardized format used by other blockchains?
Gotcha. So who are we targeting here? It kind of sounds like a little bit of everybody as like the audience who's designed to be the users of what you all are building.
So the main target for us is at the end of the day are users, like dApp users, but the way we target them is through developers and protocols. The easier the best thing for us is that the easier for devs and protocols when it comes to use our toolings, and that sort of pays off for us, because at the end of the day, if a developer is using Evolution SDK or any of the tools we develop, it will be, of course, easier for them to transition and upgrade and develop their protocols, and that in returns it gives a better user experience to the end user, right? So we're always targeting the end user, but throughout devs and protocols. Yeah.
Gotcha. So let's take a look at it this way. You mentioned you're still doing core maintenance for Evolution SDK. And if I understand correctly, this might be considered a success story for you all. What's put that platform into, or that project, if you will, into such a state that it's ready for incubation, it's ready for a more direct approach to, I guess, to crowdsource future development or more use?
Right. So when I joined Cardano, like there were not many tools out there for build-end transactions. Build-end transaction was literally a nightmare because sometimes you had issues you didn't know where they were coming from. The error messages were terrible. There was no workarounds. Most of the SDKs were not type safe. It's sort of like a funny story because Cardano started with Haskell, right? And sort of like the adoption was very hard. But when these toolings like TypeScript or people writing JavaScript, it started, everything became way more popular. But the trade-off is that you are risking, like the type safe that Haskell has. I sort of went through the same journey. I started using these SDKs. They were all right for dApp examples, if I can say, but they were not production ready. That's why I started building Evolution SDK, which is the evolution of two things, mainly that previous transaction builders or SDKs, they relied either on the a library called Cardano Serialization Lib or Cardano Multi-Platform Lib, which was written in Rust. It was also very difficult to maintain because now you have TypeScript and Rust code base to maintain. So if you had to make a change, an upgrade, you had to go into the Rust code base, wait for an approval of that maintainer, CML or CSL. Then you had to compile it, test it in your TypeScript code base, and see if it worked. If it didn't work, you had to redo it again. And so I thought, why not combining the two things into one, plus bringing the Haskell type safe as well? So not only having everything written in TypeScript, but at the same time having the Haskell type safety that everybody loves. And that's when I came to the realization that if I was able to do this in TypeScript, the only solution for me was using a library called Effects. And Effects is the most type-safe library out there in TypeScript, and it gathers all the knowledge learned from Haskell and Scala, which are both functional programming languages. So it sort of like brings all the type safety and the functional programming principles down to TypeScript. So from it, you have control of side effects, called effects, which is the same concept, but in Haskell it's called monads. In TypeScript, it's called effects. There's also some effects concept in Haskell as well. So we have effects, we have the side effects, we have error handlings, we have the virtual threads, which is another concept of computer science. And we also have the lazy programming style. So everything in Effects is lazy. So for us, it's way easier to handle these sort of things. And of course, we have immutability, which is like sort of like the gold standard of functional programming. Nothing is mutable. Everything is immutable and tested and deterministic. So we're gaining all those benefits, but just writing TypeScript. So it's a win-win for me. So that's why I decided, let's build Evolution SDK. Up until today, Evolution SDK is a drop-in replacement for Cardano Serialization Lib and Cardano Multi-Platform Lib, which are written in Rust and have been battle tested. Evolution SDK also, I battle tested the whole library against CML, and it's 1-to-1. So people can just go in and replace it. and it's just TypeScript. It's not Rust. So it's for those who are familiar with TypeScript, it'll be way easier for them to use and debug.
Well, it definitely sounds quite efficient, and I'm happy to again give that some more visibility here as well. So let's move this a little bit into the community side of things. What are some ways that No Witness Labs engages with the community? Do you guys have any resources or programs that are available to support open source developers? Are you guys participating in any bug bounties, hackathons, or developer grant offerings?
Yes. So the way we would like to get the community engaged is they can reach out to us on Discord and Not Witness Lab Discord. There's also a channel in InnerSpsych as well, so they can reach out to us as well there. And we would like to get the community involved, mainly because I don't want Evolution SDK to suffer the same destiny that previous libraries, like suffer, where there's only one maintainer, and then like what if that maintainer is is not longer there with us? That library is sort of like end up there. So why not having a different approach and get people involved? Every single thing I write about Evolution SDK contains a architecture design document. So even if you don't like TypeScript, you can literally rewrite Evolution SDK in your own language, as long as you follow the specifications. So the architecture is very agnostic. So I made sure that everything I write is very agnostic to the language. And so it'll be sort of like a learning document for people who wants to contribute to the library.
And are there any other key pieces of documentation or a source for where all these resources and documentation pieces would be stored that we should share with the community for you?
Yes, so there's actually in the project itself, in the InnerSpsych project Evolution SDK, if you go to the repo, you can just go to the top right corner and click on the link, and you will see the documentation. That documentation is updated pretty much every single day, because sometimes there are breaking changes on the architecture. So everything is there, is documented. There are examples, and yeah, if you do have any questions or issues, you can reach out to us as well.
Wonderful. Anything else that you'd like to share as far as No Witness Labs or Evolution SDK today?
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm very glad and happy that we did this transition. Very grateful for the opportunity, and yeah, if you guys have any questions, happy to support any devs or projects out there. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, definitely. Thanks so much, Jonathan, for joining us. And for anyone out there, make sure that you're giving us a subscribe there, or drop us a like, drop us a comment. Let us know what you're thinking about things, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Project Spotlights. This has been Tex from the Open Source Office. Have a great day.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.